Hello again and welcome to Ndudu by Fafa. So, Ndudu natives, yes, thank you again for tuning in for another episode with Fafa. Today I'm going to be making pan-fried pies, quite a mouthful. You will find the written recipe on my blog, fafagilbert.com. Now, let's start by making this hot dough, which is nice and stretchy. So, first of all, you do need your all-purpose flour. Yes. Place that in a bowl and of course get your kettle on because as I said it's a hot dough. Add your salt to taste and mix everything together until it's well combined. Next thing is we're going to be adding the hot water bit by bit. So of course I've added a little bit and I'm just mixing everything together to give me that sort of breadcrumb consistency. The next thing is I'm just adding some vegetable oil and then I'll add a little bit more of my hot water and mix everything together. The reason why I'm adding the water bit by bit is to ensure that I don't have a very wet dough, but instead have a sticky dough that would just, form into a pliable texture. So exactly. Now at this point, I'm like, yes, it needs a little bit more water. And I've mixed it all together. Now, do not worry. As I mentioned, I'll leave the list of ingredients and measurements on my blog, fafagilbert.com. Now, what I'm attempting to do is mix everything together and also knead this dough. So as I said, yes, it's sticky, but not too wet. Exactly, nice and soft. It's quite an easy dough to work with because it becomes so pliable quickly as well. Exactly, it becomes all glossy and shiny and stretchy. And that is what we do require for this recipe. Now, you don't need an oven to create this recipe. As I said, it's a pan-fried recipe, yes. So you can still enjoy your pie, yes, but in a different way, in that sort of Ndudu by Fafa's way. If this is your first time, you're welcome. Thank you very much for tuning in. Please don't forget to click the subscribe button and also activate your notifications, exactly, so you do not miss any future videos. I placed a napkin at the bottom of the pan to prevent the pan from, moving away whilst I sort of thoroughly mix everything together. I'm adding a little bit of my vegetable oil and then I'm just going to knead this just for about 5 minutes. And you would notice that immediately you do add your vegetable oil again, as you can tell. The dough, it's almost becoming glossy in itself. But after you allow this to rest for about 30 minutes, and then you come back again, you end up with a nice glossy looking dough. So here I'm just transferring it into an oiled bowl, as you can tell, and I'm just going to cover it with a cling film and allow it to rest for 30 minutes. Exactly. After 30 minutes, knead the dough again for another 5 minutes and let it rest for another 30 minutes. Now, once you do that, you end up with this dough looking like this. Here we have it. It's nice, it's stretchy, and it's just oh so beautiful. That's the consistency we're looking for because this would make for a fluffy, beautiful, nice, sort of pie. Yeah, I say exactly. And look at this right before your eyes. It just looks incredible. So now I'm going to be dividing my dough into equal parts and I'm using my own Mama African sense of measurements. But you can use your scale and divide this into equal amounts, exactly. But doing this, I find it like it's quite therapeutic because feeling the dough between your fingers is quite nice, and especially when you've worked hard for that. Anyway, the next thing I'm going to be tackling is my potato. So to ensure that I have a potato that is fluffy, just nice, and is not filled with water, I tend to boil my whole potatoes with the skin on. That allows for an easy peel, as you can see here. And as I mentioned before, your potato will not have too much water in there. Now, this is going to be perfect for this recipe because it's going to act as a bind for my chicken. Exactly. Now, what I'm doing is just crushing the potatoes. I don't need it to be smooth because it's going to go into a pie and I need it textured. But I'm going to divide this mixture in two because I'll be using the other part for another recipe for another day. Yes. And that recipe is absolutely incredible. So if you watched my previous video, I did the chicken confit recipe. I'll leave a link in the description box below. Yes, and I'll pin it at the top so you can familiarize yourself with this. And here I'm just going to take the skin off and also remove the bones out of the chicken, including the cartilage, which is usually at the end of the bone. And that's just great. Now, you see, the thing about the chicken confit recipe is it allows your chicken to be perfect and moist and it just falls off the bone. Bearing in mind, this has been in the fridge and I've just taken it out and it's cold, but still everything just came off beautifully. Now I'm not going to throw the bones and then the skin and the cartilage stuff away. No, that's all going to go into my chicken stock. So here, let's fluff this chicken and take any little bones or any, thing that we don't want in here out of it. Exactly. This is not any other food. This is Ndudu by Fafa. If you have watched this recipe so far to this point, thank you very much for supporting the channel. You are appreciated. The beauty about this recipe is it can be enjoyed both hot and cold. Yes. And also you can refrigerate it or freeze it. So as and when you need that quick lunch or that quick snack, you can grab it. In a way, I think it's more of a lunch, I'll say. Yes. Anyways, I've got my shredded chicken. I'm adding my chopped spring onions, which would give it that beautiful crunch. And I'm also grating some fresh ginger, about a teaspoonful. Don't want to overpower the dish, but I need that residual heat coming through and that beautiful aromatic gingery flavor that permeates through it. I've grated some black peppercorns as well. And now I'm adding this beautiful mixture to my mashed or crushed potatoes, may I say. And now I'm going to be mixing everything together until it's well combined. When we're talking about flavors, this is it. This is where you notice the beauty of boiling your potatoes in its skin because it keeps that extra starch that's in potatoes and that's allowing us to form that beautiful dough. I'm just scooping a little bit of my olive oil that I used for my chicken confit. Yes, and now I'm just going to mix it all together. So that's going to be nice and moist and beautiful. Back again with my Mama Africa measurements. I'm scooping, a fistful of those measurements, but I want to make sure that I scoop one that when I'm trying to, mold it into that beautiful bowl, it doesn't spill. And that I'm going to do for all of it. So I end up with an equal amount or measurement or weight of my beautiful chicken mixture. Also by adding the potatoes to it, it bulks up this recipe for you so you can make loads. And yes, it is cost effective in the end because not every day you'd like to cook. So having this as an emergency that is just great. Anyway, now I've just oiled my surface and I've just picked one of my hot dough. Exactly. And what I'm going to do is just roll it, as you can tell. Yes, and because I'm going to be adding my rolled chicken piece to the middle. Now just watch what I'm going to do. This is why it's important to have the dough in that stretchy manner. So I'm just stretching the dough to cover this filling, as you can tell, and I would repeat that until it covers it. And then I can form a knot, twist the knot, seal it, and then I'm just going to flatten it. So just watch exactly how I do this. Repeat the process until you've stuffed all your beautiful pies. You can refrigerate it and you can freeze it. And if you're doing so, drizzle with a little bit of the vegetable oil and just, separate it with a parchment paper. When you're ready, Get your frying pan, your non-stick frying pan, place it on that medium to low heat, and then just add your beautiful pies. So all we're going to do is just pan fry it. Exactly. It's so easy. And when you do that, allow the first part of it to pan fry for at least about 2 minutes, because that will start forming a crust before you turn it over. Yes. Equally, you can leave it for about 4 minutes on that medium heat and then turn it over for another 4 minutes, and then you're done. Bear in mind, everything that's been stuffed with this chicken has been cooked, but you just need it to warm it through. Now, the reason why I've done it this way is because I did refrigerate it. So allowing, by turning it over, I'm allowing for an even cook and also allowing the stuffing to warm through beautifully. So this process takes about 8 minutes. And, I was just like, oh, two is not going to be enough. Let me just add another one for the end. I know. But it's just like when you creating a recipe, you have to get that perfect picture as well. So I do that and I'm like, yeah, extra one just in case. Exactly. So yeah, look at that. That is browning and that looks so beautiful. This is not any other food. This is Ndudu by Fafa. Now, this is an inspiring recipe, which means that, you can stuff it with anything that you love. Now, the olive oil that I use for the chicken confit, I've blended it with some, purple cabbage, and I've ended up with that beautiful, sweet flavor oil, and that's what I'm brushing over. But you can use your olive oil or any oil if you're choosing to brush it over. You can omit it altogether. You don't need to. But of course, I need that glossy shine and I just need it to, work through. So this beauty, my darling, is well and truly done. Now, let's serve this. If you do like what you see, please don't forget to leave your comments and also smash that like button. Share with your family and friends, yes, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed. I appreciate that. Now look at this. When you divide this in two, look how we end up with. Look at that stuffing. And you see, that is why it's so important to have your potatoes the way it is. Look at it. And then that makes a beautiful pocket for you to insert it with anything of your choosing. To me, it's a great opportunity to add some herbs and some salad leaves to it and go for it. You can add any condiments that you wish to have. But I was just like, nah, I was hungry when I was filming this. So I was like, nah, chicken and basil or basil. Basil leaves. Yes, you know what I mean. Yeah, they do work really well. And I've just got some, shredded beetroot and some other salad pieces. Just adding that to it. Also, you can add your tomatoes, or you can even add some, mozzarella cheese in there and just, melt it a little bit and you're good to go. This is so easy and it's beautiful. This again, as I said, you can actually even cook it this way and freeze it still. So as and when you just need it, you just take it out and then you warm it through and you're good to go. Absolutely. Now I've got another incredible recipe which is inspired by this. Absolutely, because of course, if you watched from the beginning, you would notice that I did divide my crushed potatoes in two. So this was my lunch the other day, yes, and I served it with my turmeric orange juice, absolutely, which is nice and warm and absolutely beautiful. Cheers, Ndudu natives. Cheers. I hope you did enjoy watching the recipe today. Yes, as I mentioned, I'll leave the list of ingredients and measurements on my blog, fafagilbert.com, so do check it out. I'll leave a link in the description box as well. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat as Ndudu by Fafa, so pass by and say hi. Narelle, thank you very much for my theme song, and until my next recipe with you guys, take care of you, be nice, be beautiful, and always remember this, I love you for you. Just be yourself.